first Whaleshares Curation show. Seems like a long time, doesn't it? But I will keep going like a blister in the sun. And what have we got for you this week? We've got the Guess the Flesh competition. We have got more curated posts. I was hoping to get some suggestions for people I could interview, because I used to do interviews. So if there's someone you'd like to hear talking on this channel, maybe someone you don't know, or someone important or something, let me know, and I can hopefully persuade them to come and be interviewed. But I think without further ado, let's jump into some curation. So why don't we start off with Curration, who I'm sure is ready. Got your noodles? Got your coffee?
Okay, here's my first post, and it's by this person for 91 days. I think it's just the trip that they're taking, or some kind of journey that's gonna last 91 days. And this one is taking place in Ghana. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the market, Kejetia market or whatever, but anyways, this market is supposedly gonna be a replace to the modern version of market. So this is like an old style market, and what, like, you can see those in a lot of third world countries. Like, it looks really authentic, really old, and just like a bunch of people coming together, a lot of merchants as well as customers, just hustling and haggling and trying to make a living. So yeah, I selected this post because I just love the pictures. They're so vibrant and kind of made me feel like I took the trip with these people, exploring the market and what they have to offer. So definitely would love to visit them myself. And the another thing about it that I enjoyed was the video. The video, like, is really nice because you just can hear all of the sounds, people chattering, and just like all of the noise that's usually present at places like that with a lot of people and a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, definitely a great post.
It's also a pretty huge post, which is impressive. There's a lot of effort's gone into that, a lot of writing. It says West Africa. Is this likely to be Nigeria, Mo, would you say? You
It is in Ghana.
Ghana.
Okay. I didn't see that bit.
Nick, I said it in the very beginning of my first sentence that it's in Ghana. Where were you? Making some tea or collecting some tea off the tree?
I think maybe you had a mouthful of noodles or something, so I didn't hear it so clearly. But okay, I missed that. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's an awesome post, and it's a long post. Is this poster for 91 days, is this a newish account?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they knew. I've never seen them before. So I don't think they currently get a lot of rewards. So yeah, very well worth picking.
Awesome. So I'm interested to hear, we've got two separate African perspectives on this as well. Mo and Breeze, what do you two think of this post?
This is so very African. This is typical African. All the different fabrics, the beads, which is used in a lot of traditional attire in the majority of African cultures. I haven't had time to read the post, but there's a lot of interesting little tidbits that I can add. In the cultural tribal structures of African cultures, what they do is certain materials, symbolize certain either ranks or status in the tribe itself. So if you are the healer of the tribe, you would wear a different pattern of cloth as your drapings and the beads and everything that goes with that. Whereas if you are one of the tribesmen or the tribal leader of the tribe itself, you would then wear a different color. So there's a lot of symbolic background that goes into a lot that you can see in these photos, which is absolutely amazing. That's when it comes to the cloth. You'd see a lot of people would have their normal clothes on, but then cloth draped over, and that is where that comes into play, as well as the beads, like your sangomas, which is traditional healers. It's similar to shaman, but works more on the herbal side of things, as well as the spiritual side of things. They would normally have a red, white, and black color, for example, and then red, white, and black beads woven into a specific pattern to go with that. And every pattern has a different meaning and a different rank, a different level of skills that goes with it. Another thing that is absolutely amazing in this post that you can see, and I think it's one of the last few pictures, is you see a lady carrying a stack of 4 pots on her head. That was actually a community project that started out in South Africa to recycle metal into these pots that's traditionally used for cooking. They used to be made from like cast iron. And they are used traditionally to cook over an open fire. And then they started a recycling project in South Africa doing these pots for lesser fortunate communities because the cast iron pots were so expensive. So that's another interesting tidbit I can find there. You better stop me, Nick, because I'll just carry on forever. Another thing that you can very commonly see is the shoemakers with the ancient sewing machines. It still works with a foot pedal that you kind of pump the whole time as you go on. And a lot of these people use what another amazing community project that you can often find on the streets is people take car tires, old car tires, and they cut out the soles for shoes of that. And then they use leather strapping over that, and they make the most beautiful sandals, and for all practical reasons, amazing sandals from that off the street that you can buy for really, really cheap. So a lot of this can be seen in South Africa as well, and I think it just displays our cultural diversity as a country and Africa as a whole. And it made me realize like how intricately involved everything is. Yeah. So that's a few of the thoughts that I can raise. And then the baby being papered in the street, that is also a very, very common sight, like the baby being tied to the back of the mother. Yeah, that's also a very, very common African thing, I think.
Breeze, that was a serious answer. That was impressive. But yeah, no, I feel edified by that. I don't envy Mo, who's now going to follow that with some more information for us or thoughts on this post. Mo, are you there?
She's on the phone.
Yeah, I am. I'm here. I seem to be having a bit of a network challenge tonight, but did you ask me a question? Could you ask again?
Yes, just wondering, did you see the post, the post of the market in Ghana? Breeze gave a long answer about stuff she knows about Africa.
Most of what she said. Yeah.
And I was wondering what you thought as well, if you had anything to add to that.
Okay. Well, this is interesting because I've been wanting to go to Ghana, and I loved looking at these pictures. In many ways, they kind of look like some of our more traditional markets here in Nigeria. But I would say that most of what we have in, say, the kind of location I am, and say places like Lagos and Abuja are much more much more industrialized than this. But I can relate with this a lot. And I read the post and I laughed because I could literally feel the energy in the market. And that's the way our marketplaces are. It's absolutely energetic. You know, when I see the UK movies, the American movies, and you see the markets, yeah, you see people manning the stores, but you don't see the kind of interactions you see here. They're literally pulling you. I mean, you're walking through the aisles and people are pulling you, come into my shop, come here, no, stop here. And you know, sometimes you literally have to fight them off. You know? And it could be funny for people who don't like to be touched, or who have it, you know, if you have issues with your space and all, you will probably hate this market because everybody's gonna touch you. You know, but well, for those of us who are used to it, it's lovely. And I see this, and it makes me want to go there all the more. The people look like my people. They could pass for Nigerians. Yeah, so beautiful.
And the thing is, as well, Mo, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is you see like the markets we see on TV, and these types of markets, like Mo said, it's like very energetic. You'll have two stalls next to each other selling the same thing, and they would literally have you, like one guy would have you by one arm and the other guy would have you by one arm, and they would have a tug of war in the street with you because no, you
Oh
need to
yeah.
buy my Simba chips for 5 cents cheaper, and they would have this like battle with you if you allow it, especially if you're ignorant to it or it's your first time there. If they see you're a foreigner, you're in for a treat. They would just, like, I don't know, you'd end off being sold to donkeys or something. And the other thing is as well, it's
Exactly.
really, really loud, Nick. It is one of the things of African culture. Like if you take, sorry Mo, but I'm gonna go all black and white now. But for white people, for example, it is a sign of respect to talk softly in order to respect the people around you. And for the general black population, especially in markets or in a cultural setting, for them it's a sign of respect to talk loudly as a sign of sincerity and honesty and openness. So they would literally
Exactly.
stand next to each other and they would scream at each other. So to show the audience that they're not gossiping, or you know, so that's a huge cultural difference, and it's actually a cultural shock when you go into one of these markets and the people are yelling at you and you're thinking, why is everybody angry? And it's not, it's actually a sign of respect. So that's very entertaining to go.
That's amazing,
I
Anne.
agree.
So lots of like purely English things, reserved ways of behaving would seem really odd there. For example, if I would go into a shop, I've got like a special "don't disturb anybody" voice where you speak to the people behind the shop, and it's strange. You can project your voice quite far, but you don't broadcast it. So I would probably sound in Africa like I was plotting or something.
Absolutely. And people would literally stop and stare at you, because, you know, to them you are actually being disrespectful because it's a sign of going behind someone's back or gossiping or something like that. Another thing that's very
being underhanded.
yeah, that's exactly. And another thing that's in the same cultural line, for example, is you can in my culture, for example, if you're sitting on a dinner table and you want to pass something, you'd pass it as not to disturb the person sitting next to you. So you'd kind of pass it behind someone's back or something like that, you know, as not to obstruct the visual field. Where in the black culture, that also is a sign of disrespect and being conniving, because what are you hiding? So for them, they'd have to pass it in front of your face to the next person, which we find rude again. And a lot of like cultural conflict, I think, arises from stupid little things of not knowing the cultural differences and the cultural boundaries. So you'd literally, if you had to go in there and, you know, slide the guy the money for the packet of cigarettes or whatever you just bought, you know, kind of inconspicuously, and you talking softly, people are going to think like, hey, bro, you're busy doing a drug deal, you up to no good, you are horrible. And, you know, people would literally stop and stare.
This is so different. Like, for example, I've just seen, thinking that if I was in the town walking in England and I bumped into Father Tabri and I didn't know him and he didn't know me, it would be quite normal for us both not to make eye contact if we bumped into each other. Both sort of look down, look away. Sorry.
You know, that as well, that can go, because also not making eye contact is a sign of being the lesser person, and it's also a sign of respect. So you'll see a lot of people won't make eye contact. They would bump into each other and then just carry on as normal. They won't turn around and say sorry, or, you know, it just is what it is, just a passing glance. And the markets are so busy, not bumping into someone like every 10 seconds is literally impossible.
But then you stare at them for long enough, they're like, what you looking at? Do you want me to whoop your ass?
Yeah, but anyway, I've rambled on enough now, I think. Sorry about that little tangent. I really do think it's a great post, and it really pictures out the diversity of the cultures across the world. I think people get stuck in their own norm, and they don't necessarily get exposed to something like this unless it's put out there or brought under attention. And I think it's great that you are trying to get this a little bit more exposure. Going to Africa, I think, is a culture shock in general. It is so different from the majority of cultures that we are, as a rule, accustomed to, or that has been Americanized. And it's raw, it's real, and it's in your face. It's loud, it is proud, and it's just there. It's inadmissible. And there's never a dull moment, I think. Hey, Mo?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Hey, I got disconnected just now. Did you hear my question to Catherine about Russia?
No, we didn't hear anything other than you said something, I forget, and then you quit talking.
Okay, so I got kicked out. I was just going to ask before we moved on. So Europeans, particularly Northwest Europeans, are very, very quiet in public usually, and then they balance that by getting drunk and getting noisy, kind of like Vikings or football hooligans or something. But Russians, I hear that Russians are often a bit more noisy in day-to-day stuff. Would you say that that's the case?
I'm not sure what do you mean by noisy in day-to-day life, like interacting with each other, or like what exactly do you mean?
In the market, in public, that kind of thing?
Well, if there's a market like that, then of course people are gonna interact and try to get people to buy. They're not gonna just like grab you and try to make you look at their goods, but they might say things like, "Look at like these goods," whatever, you know. Um, I mean, I feel like markets, especially outdoors market, are noisy like that everywhere, and probably not just unique to Africa, but it is like that in any part of the world. Even like here, we have this thing called Eastern Market here in Detroit, and there are a few giant sheds, and just like basically people just bring their goods like from greenhouses or whatever, you know, and you go over there, and there's a lot of like chatter going on. So I think this is being noisy and just like a lot of interactions going on. This is just unique to the markets themselves, not particular culture or country.
Okay, interesting answers all around. And this must be a good post because we've talked about it for ages. Awesome. So do you want to drop the link again, Cot? Whilst, so if anyone wants to upvote it, whilst I get the Guess the Flesh competition going. So if you're not familiar with this, each week, I think almost everybody here has been here before, it looks like. Anyway, I'll explain. Each week we host a competition whereby you are able to send in a picture of a part of your body, nothing explicit. You do it anonymously. You send it to Curration, who's set up her account. So you can get fleshy pictures now, can't you, Cot? It's not blocking them.
They have to send regular pictures. I haven't disabled the bot, and I don't plan on doing.
Yeah, but they are fleshy pictures, isn't that because they were blocking things with flesh before? Was that not the case?
I don't know how this bot is gonna react. I just enabled like filtered explicit content, and I don't know the algorithm it uses to filter it.
Okay, well, we'll test this bot whether it can tell the difference between a hand and something else. Anyway, okay, so send your pictures of parts of your body that don't reveal your identity to Curration. At the end of the show, we will put up a collage. You get paid 50 erotics tokens or equivalent for taking part. I've been trying to catch up with paying people. I think a lot of people have been paid, but then, gosh, I'm about 3 weeks behind on something. So I have to keep going back through posts. In actual fact, I did that with Scribble Guild yesterday. I put up a big post for winners and said, you just have to take the tokens. I haven't got the energy to put it all on your post. So please be aware I'm behind on that, but you will get your payments. Anyway, to clarify, send your pictures to Cotter and she will make a collage of them. And then there'll be a competition post up tomorrow. And you can guess who everybody is. And if you get it right, you get a big prize. Usually about 200 or 300 Whaleshares and upvotes, maybe a bit more. So say your pictures now, and Cotrin will deal with that. Right, should we go to a second post? I think we should. Let's go to Breeze, your first post.
Right, so this is someone new I came across on the platform. She very recently did her introduction post. The introduction post already had, I wouldn't say a nominal fee on it, but it had a reasonable payout. And I thought, let me go have a look at some of her other work. And it is from Print Checker. And it is a beautifully written story. Our tiny little secret, very hard. I have to warn you, if you are sensitive, please, maybe just you can still go show your support, but just throw caution to the wind. It is quite a touching story. As far as I can tell, it is fictional writing. It might or might not be. And then another thing that fascinates me is if you look at the art that she's using in her posts, and I stand corrected on this, the art form that she uses is very similar. This picture that she used here is very similar to the one that she used in her introduction post as well. And I am thinking that it is her own art. I haven't gone to search the image itself, but it looks to me to be authentic on first sight. The writing, like I said, it's very descriptive, very entailing, and just absolutely heartfelt. You can live yourself into the moment when you're reading this. And I thought, well, this is someone that would definitely deserve some more exposure than what they are currently getting. And also being new to the platform, I'm thinking a warm welcome should extend a little bit past their introduction post.
Awesome to see this has got a Scribble Guild tag. I've probably read more African writing since I've started Scribble Guild than I'd ever read before.
I didn't even notice the tags. Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. So she might even be in for put herself in for Curation Award as well. But anyway, I haven't had time to read it yet. But yeah, I do really like the African stuff I get to read. It's got its own wild flavor, I would say. I can't summarize it very well. Maybe I will after time, but I read the stuff that Vivian writes and Mo writes and Warped Poetic and a few other people in here. Benny, I think. Some of Wolfgang Alpha's poetry, maybe I've read. I don't know. Anyway, it's awesome to read it, and this is looks like a really good example. So, great choice, Breeze.
Yeah, I think it is a great choice as well. Even though I didn't read the text, I still think it's important to pick up creative writing for curation. Even though most people are not able to kind of get the idea about this pace in particular, but it's good that people are still gonna be rewarded for their art.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, Cotrin, you normally the king of looking up whether a picture is an original, but this really looks like it could be, given that it's the similar style of art that she's using on her other posts. And if it is, I respect the fact that she uses that to incorporate into her stories. And another thing that I enjoyed is how close to home this story could be. Although it is fictional, it is just so touching. It's something that you can really visualize happening in an everyday basis, which is really sad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mo, are you there?
Yes, I am, Nick. Sorry,
It's okay. It's all right.
pretty. Whew. All right. I read through the post and it's beautifully shocking. I hear these things. I hear a lot of these things. Being a psychologist of some sort, but it's scary to think that this could have been happening to her. You know, he did this to her from, when she was so young till she got pregnant, and he wasn't even going to stop. And then it's escalating all the more, and oh Lord, I can't even. Sorry, just let me pass on this one.
Okay, so it's a moving piece, and something that's likely to make you feel quite deeply evocative. But okay, so I'm definitely, well, as I say, it's got a Scribble Guild tag, so I'll definitely be reading it more thoroughly later on. But yeah, obviously a good choice, Breeze. And we've got an African theme this week.
It truly seems that we do.
So I need to find.
Daenerys was just commenting in the chat that it is fiction, though. Daenerys, is this your? Are you the author? Oh wow, I didn't know. I was looking out for Print Chica. I didn't know that was you. Great to know, and thank you for joining us. Daenerys, one question is the artwork your own that you're using in the piece?
Well, it's still a pretty picture anyway, and obviously some good writing.
That is really awesome to hear. But Daenerys, just as a little guideline, if the art is not yours, you might want to put in the art credits in the post as well, before someone steps on your toes about that. So just a little nudge, nudge.
Daenerys, are you African, or where are you from?
I've heard of it, Daenerys, outside of Game of Thrones before. Vivian, this is another thing I've picked up from writing. There are different tribes, aren't there? There's Igbo and other things, and I've read about some different tribes in your writing, but they're hard names for me to remember. Zizi Mena, what did she write about? She's written some things about the white man's magic and stuff like that, and to me, it's so alien to hear that, but it's interesting as well to see how some Africans would perceive whites in that way. I don't know. It's just, anyway, it's really, really interesting. But anyway, okay. Let's move on to another post, I think. And we can talk about the different tribes and ethnicities in Africa at some point in another show, because it's really interesting. Mo, are you ready to curate your post?
She's on the phone.
Oh, guys, just give me a minute to grab the post.
Oh, and at the halfway point, Bug is going to play us a song.
Yay, Bug! Hi.
He's probably cooking his dinner now. When he's not singing, he's usually cooking his dinner.
Okay. Hi, Bug. So guys, that's
Hold on.
post.
That picture's got moving images in it. That's not fair.
Okay, can I go ahead now?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So this is a post by, I'm not sure I can pronounce her name. I'm going to drop it in here. I can pronounce Elena, but I cannot pronounce. I think this is Elena Hernandez. Okay, so yeah, my network is acting up, so you get my chats a little later. But she's a Venezuelan. I believe that is Spanish, right? I don't know much about my geography is horrible, but it's a post in Spanish, I think. I had to use the translator, and this is a really beautiful post. Let me, is it okay to drop the translated version in the chat so you could see this?
Absolutely, yeah, do it.
Okay, so there it is. It's a poem, and she has written and dedicated it to her son. Um, this was absolutely beautiful. I found this really beautiful. I found it's rather simplistic the way she uses the words and everything, but she expressed the emotion so perfectly. I mean, it tugged at my heartstrings as I read through it. I'm a mother myself, and this resonated with me a lot. This is a mother who has been inspired to write of her love for her child, and the bond between mother and child, or better still, the bond between the parents and the children is incredible, and I feel it can only be felt. It's not it's difficult to describe, and I love this post a lot because of my kids. I recently dropped them off at my parents' place yesterday, and as much as I'm so grateful for the respite and the peace and the quiet in the house, I already miss them dreadfully. And I keep getting flashes of their hugs, their kisses, their interrogations, and their defense. There was some part of Elena's poem. Let me see if I can find it. She says, where is it? Where is it? Sorry, I'm looking for it.
Mo, are you going to read this poem out for us
Yeah.
as well?
Really? Okay. All right. The title of the poem says, "Thanks to You," and it goes thus. Thanks to you who arrived at the precise moment for your time. Thanks for the falls because your love makes the pain disappear. Oh, yeah, that was what I wanted to talk about. But moving on. Thank you, my life, for your for your patience and beautiful moments, for being the reason of my joy, for separating me from the anguish. Thank you because in the light of your eyes, I only see the glow of affection. Because in your warm arms, I know what it is to feel love. Wow. Thank you for the joy of being a mother, because there is no storm that distances us, for the tenderness of your kisses, that, that in the nights full of love. I guess this is poetic license. Thank you for being authentic and spontaneous, for appreciating my dreams, for being the star of my nights, and feel the pride of seeing you fly. Wow. And she says, this is authorship, blah, 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 edited by myself, poem of my authorship dedicated to my son. I absolutely loved it. Okay, so I was talking about what she said in there, where she said, I think it was in the first stanza. Yeah, she said, because your love makes the pain disappear. And, I flashed back to a point in time when my older girl was defending me. And oh my word, I need to describe this to you. So I am on the chubby side. I am like the typical African woman. And I keep struggling with my weight. I keep trying to become slim and sexy, and it rarely ever works. Anyway, so this lady from church, she's slim and really poised and chic at all. So she says something. She said something hurtful. She called me fat, and I turned away because I didn't want to respond. But I guess my daughter could see my pain. She was there, my first girl. Her name is Jura, and Jura walks up to her and says things that absolutely shocked me. She told her, Auntie, you're slim and you're beautiful, but a lot of us do not like you. My mom is chubby and she's full of love. What's there not to like? We don't attend your classes because you're nasty. And I had never seen my girl like that. She's all sweet and but this was my daughter unsheathing her claws because someone said something hurtful to her mom, and I couldn't scold her. I just pulled her away. We walked away, and I had little tears in my eyes, but it wasn't tears of hurt or pain or anger. It was tears of pride. That yeah, that's my girl. And I mean, reading this poem, I could absolutely just connect. It was beautiful. I don't know if, yeah, that's it.
Um, no, I think it's a lovely and touching poem. And the other thing I wanted to say was kudos to you for seeing a poem in Spanish and taking the time to put it through Google Translate and reading it. So that to me is top curation. So well done on that, Mo, as well.
Wow, thank you so much.
Mo,
So
I think it's a great choice, and it's wonderful to see a mother putting so much pride behind her children, as did you when your daughter stood up for you. So that for me is great to see. And like Nick said, it's wonderful that you took the time to translate it, and still pay it attention, even though it was not in a language that you understood. You're putting in a lot of time and effort, and that's very respectable.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I think I think we've been like doing a lot of Spanish language duration in the past. I wonder what happened at some point. We did have a lot of people from Venezuela post a lot, and they would post really good posts, But for some reason, I don't see those as much anymore. But back to this particular pick, yeah, I think it is a good poem. I did enjoy it, and yeah, like not I think I saw another mother write a poem for her kid, but I don't remember who that was. But whenever people do that, you can just like tell how much love they have for their children, which is of course normal, like as expected. But yeah, that's like really sweet as well.
Thank you. The sad thing is, it seems she doesn't even post on the platform a lot because, I mean, it's only my share she's got on that post, nobody else. And her last post was some weeks back before this one. So I don't know. Hopefully, the shares she gets from here would encourage her to come back and be more active. I hope.
Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
no, no, no. No, sorry, that's not correct. That's for the other post I curated. Sorry, just forget I said that. I just unsaid it.
Okay, yeah. So well curated, and yeah, it's good to help her out. And I'm extremely impressed with that moving GIF. And now I want all my pictures to move. Pathfinder, you got to take a picture of your flesh and send it to Cotterin. and yeah, just send a picture of your flesh to Cotterin. Anyway, yeah, nothing explicit. We're hold on. Right, sorry. We're almost at the halfway point. Cotterin is now going to show us some flesh that has been sent to her. Oh, wow, look at those. Okay, a tattooed, probably a shoulder. So it could be a very flat knee as well. Okay, somebody having a drink with a gold ring. A finger. This is interesting. I do need some tea. I do. Okay, so we've got a few. There'll be more coming in. Remember, you get paid for sending these in. Some of you have been paid already. Some of you are probably deeply in arrears to some of you, but I'm going to get it sorted out soon, I promise. And that's a Nick promise. So it's a fairly reliable promise that something will happen within the next month or so. Anyway, next post. Bug is going to play us a song. Do you want to do that now, Bug? Would you want me to curate a post?
Now's okay. If are you ready now?
Yeah, I think we could be ready now. Yeah.
How am I coming through?
Loud and clear.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. In my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. When the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. Though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Oh, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. When the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. Wake up to the sound of music, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Oh, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
That was beautiful as always. Absolutely beautiful.
Thanks, Nick.
Hey, you said only one song. What if we all shouted encore for you? Could that change things?
There'll be some WLS in my tip jar.
You might get some tokens or something.
No, I'm kidding. We need like a WLS tip jar for people, don't you think?
I guess, yeah. I don't know how it would work. Hey, there's a song that I think you might not know it off by heart now, but it's the one they play at the end of the Big Lebowski. I think your voice would go really well with that. Do you know the one I mean?
I don't. Does anybody know the name?
It's played on the guitar. It's perfect. Oh gosh, hold on.
While you're thinking of it, wouldn't it be nice if we had like a online cafe? People could pay a cover charge to come in and listen to live performers like Asari and other people. Pay like some WLS or something.
This could work. This could be a thing, couldn't it? Someone would have to program a bot though.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Mandel.
Mandel's going to do it. Okay, well, how do you feel about doing an encore for us before we go to the second half of the show?
Yeah, I just need like a song title.
Okay, anyone?
Options. I'm not going to do that one. Hotel, fornication. What else?
Come on, people. Right, somebody talk for a second. I'm going to find the one I'm looking for.
I can talk.
I need to. Yes, that's it. Dead Flowers. That's it. Well done, Father to be. Did you look that up or did you know that? That's impressive.
Not that impressive.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for doing that. Do you know that song, Dead Flowers?
I know, like, Where Have All the Flowers Gone?
No, that's a different one. Right. Okay. If you don't know that, you absolutely have to learn that song. It's beautiful. It's resonant, and it's perfect for your voice and your guitar. Absolutely. Okay. You can't do that one if you don't know it. Anyone?
Name some artists, even, really.
What about In the Ghetto by Elvis?
Oh, really?
Yeah, go on, you can do that.
Patsy Cline.
Patsy Cline.
Yes, Crazy by Patsy Cline, because I know that you can sing that, because I have faith.
I have to sing that. Well, I don't actually much anymore, but I used to sing that quite a lot for Sebastian. So Bug, are you ready? Have you got something for us?
Yeah, I'll try a Patsy one. I'll be your Patsy. Not without coffee, I'm not, though. Oh, yeah. I fall to pieces each time time I see you again, I fall to pieces. How can I be just your friend? You want me to act like we've never kissed. You want me to forget, pretend we've never met. And I've tried, but I haven't yet. You walk by and I fall to pieces. I fall to pieces each time someone speaks your name. I fall to pieces. Time only adds to the flame. Will you tell me to find someone else to love? Someone who loved me too, the way you used to do. But each time I go out with someone new, you walk by and I fall to pieces. You walk by and I fall to pieces.
Thank you so much. It was lovely to have some live music. YouTube's great and everything, but to know you're there playing up in the Canadian forests is awesome. Makes it feel really immediate. So yeah, hang around for a bit if you can, and at the end of this show, you know, give us a roundup on your. I think you're having a hangout, aren't you, later? So you can tell us about that.
Sure. Yeah, my pleasure to always play for you, Nick. We're not going to do a curation show tonight. Snecky's not feeling 100%, but we are going to have just a fun hangout, and it'll be at 10 p.m. UTC, midnight in Dutchland, and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Okay, awesome stuff. Shall we go through to the second round of? Oh, Cot, any more flesh for us?
Yeah, fresh out of the oven.
Ah, pretty. Wow, little finger. Okay, awesome. Is it just that one or some more?
Oh, just that one. I got it like literally as soon as you were speaking.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, let's go back to the second round of curation. I've got a post that I'll do to curate. I'll do at the end. But Cot, do you want to do your second post now?
Yeah, sure. Let me grab it. Okay, this is my second pick, and this one is by Raj. We all know Raj, one of our fellow curators that's not here anymore, sadly. This one is, I think he submitted that for Scrabble Guild, but I thought it was such an amazing post, and like he hardly got any recognition on that, if you may. But yeah, like this one, he collaborated with Rosa, and she's a photographer. She does a lot of like a black and white photography, but colorful as well. And in this one, they collaborated together, and she would submit pictures to him, and he would write poems according to what kind of feelings those pictures um, provoked in him, and then he would send her like some poetry, and she would take pictures according to those. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool idea, and also the reason why I picked this because it's like very personal to Raj, because a lot of these pictures, like through those pictures, he reflected a lot on his grandparents that passed away, and Like you can see, like there's like an old calendar and just like abandoned book on the windowsill, as well as just like ripped apart cushion on the chair, just like um, really made him think about the passage of time and age and losing his grandparents. So yeah, I thought that that was like a really good, profound post, and like he shared a lot of like his personal experience through text as well. Yeah, like really good post.
I've actually seen this one before. If you see at the top, it got curated for a Scribble Guild award. But yeah, it's one of the best poetry posts I've seen so far in Scribble Guild. I thought it was so good, and it's a pity Raj isn't here because his spoken word poetry and the stuff he writes is really good. So yeah, full agreement here on this one. So yeah, good choice, Scott.
Thank you.
I think the thing that stands out for me on this post specifically is the extensiveness of possibilities when it comes to collaborations on the platform with other creative souls that we find along the way. I think collaboration is often associated just with more towards music, but we're seeing all the more like diverse collaborations happening in between music and poetry and art and poetry and visuals, like photography, which is absolutely brilliant. And it just, every little string weaves a cloth of community and kinship on the platform that is fantastically inadmissible, and I love that. And I love Raj for taking a step in a different direction. His poetry in itself is absolutely brilliant, has always been heartwarming and inspiring, to say the least. And to take something of such a high standard and combine it with someone else's art and giving dual exposure on both sides as well is just fantastic.
Mo, did you have a read?
Yeah, I did, and it sounded really professional to me. Is Raj a poet, a professional poet? Do you know?
You know what? I think he's bridging the gap. I wouldn't be surprised if we see great things from Raj and his poetry in the near future as well.
Okay, this is like really amazing. He took literally dead pictures and made them into art. Amazing. Yeah, just amazing.
I should just at this point out that that post has got 100 Whaleshares on it because I've had problems with getting all the payouts put on posts, and because we had uneven manner last month and stuff like that. Raj will get his Scribble Guild tokens this time sent to his wallet. In future, they'll be added. Now, our token's gone up in value. So I think 100 Scribble coins now gives you about 250, plus with the Scribble Guild award you get D-Bread, which is about another 80. So it's a pretty huge writing prize. I think you get like, yeah, 330 minimum on its own without any of the other kudos or support from other posters as well for a Scribble Guild award. So if you're a writer and you want big rewards, feel free to put them in the Scribble Guild. Drop them in the Scribble Guild Discord, and also hopefully, because I'm doing 2 a day at present, but we're going to expand it to try and do more, because basically we want to give out as much writing as possible. But anyway, I just thought I'd let you know that Scribble coins are worth loads more now, so quite happy about that. And another thing, Cott's porn filter blocked one of the pictures, so it had to come to me, who I've got my porn filter wide open, as you can well imagine. Hold on one second. So if you can add that to your collage as well. Anyway, next post. I think we're on to, Breeze, are we on to your post now, your second post?
Well, there is a 98% chance that it might maybe be me, yes.
Okay, I think it's good to move ahead with that then.
I'm getting really good at winning time over while I'm trying to find the post link. All right, so this is my second post. Also someone that I have not come across on the platform before. And it was just a wonderful post by a name that I can't present. Naya Nastengra, I think. Maybe. Nick, you can correct me on that. And it was a piece of art. It was a piece of a post on a piece of art that she found in a Buddhist monastery, and her thoughts on that, and describing what this art piece entails. And I found it quite thought-provoking, and I thought it's wonderful to share things from different cultures. I don't want to go into religion or belief systems as such, but what I think that it is great that we acknowledge that there is a variety, and I think take from it the good. And this whole art piece revolves around the life cycle, if you can call it that. And there's a lot of symbolism used into the art, and she describes it at the bottom. I'm not going to go through all of it, but there's a blind woman that depicts the ignorance of mankind, and a potter that depicts the compositional action, and so it goes on through all the various fragments of the art piece as an entirety. And I just thought it was very enlightening and educational, and seeing that we are pretty much on the cultural pony today. Not that I knew that beforehand. I think it's great sharing like something like this that comes from a different culture, and just open the spectrum of exposure in our own lives.
Yes, please begin working on the collage. Awesome. That's very kind of you. Breeze, this post is good. I really like Buddhism. It's got so much depth to it, and I studied it a little bit at university. And what Westerners think of a sort of what's mostly just a surface ethos with a little bit of depth is actually hugely deep, with all sorts of things, like really complicated systems of different worlds with gods and things and all stuff like that. And this to me is an example of that wheel. Though it's art, we'll be describing all sorts of different realities, and will comprise like the Buddhist worldview or something like that. But it's you can see it's intricate. Look at it closely, and it's not just a picture; it's a diagram. It's teaching you something about how the world works. It's great to see it. So well chosen, Breeze.
Yes, I agree with you, Nick. I also enjoyed this post and the artwork that this lady shared. This lady, I actually know a little bit of her, I guess, because she often comes to my posts to comment on my food. This is how I know. Like, this also the name that I cannot pronounce. I go to her blog sometimes back to what was on some of her posts. I actually was considering picking up one of her posts today. It was like a sculpture, like maybe like something was carved out of the wood or something like that. But then I changed my mind. I'm happy that Breeze, you stumbled upon this. I really enjoy this piece and like this wheel wheel of life. Yeah, it's really weird, and like you can look at all those separate I guess, lives and then paint them into one big picture.
It's my um, I'm not sure if I'm ashamed to say this or not, but I, I avoid reading Buddhists. So this is like the first Buddhist thing I'm actually paying attention to. And it looks pretty interesting. It is rich. Like, I mean, the storytelling in here is amazing. What worries me a bit is the fact that there's like a demon hovering over everything. So does that mean that the whole world is are we demonized? you know, I just wonder.
It's like it's so complicated. It's I would say most people don't understand it. Certainly, I don't understand it. And Hinduism is very similar. Really, really complicated. But that things are symbolic. So that and what looks shocking in a picture might be symbolic of something that isn't quite so shocking when they talk about it religiously. It's just it's a depiction in the same way that you have. As a Christian, you might have the idea of a loving Christ, but you might go into a church and see a crucified Christ or a Pieta, a Christ in the arms of Mary after being crucified, and think it actually looks quite terrifying, quite horrific image. If you're not familiar with what's behind it, but I do take your point. But anyway, another good post, another interesting post. I'm just going to post something quickly. So here is a post by Giant Bear, who she's pretty much writing a book on the blockchain. It seems like, and she's not getting a lot of traction, and it's hard to mark this in Scribble Guild because they're all like sort of even length bits, and it's what I want to do is reward it more for its holistic whole and her as a poster rather than reward the one bit of writing specifically, which would feel unfair. So I thought it was better to promote her and share her here, also where she'll get seen by more of you. But yeah, I like what she's doing. I like the effort that she's putting in, and she's writing us a book. That was awesome, and it's also she's South African, I believe. Is she, Breeze?
Yes, she is also South African. I think she's in Cape Town, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty much on the opposite end of South Africa from me. So it's not someone that I've known personally or probably would encounter in my entire life. But yes, I know of her. And yeah, I have curated some of her work as well before. Brilliant writer, teacher by trade, and she, like you said, she puts a lot of time and effort into her posts.
Scott's probably busy doing her thing. So, Mo, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I like her use of words. I like the way she strings her words together. It's beautiful. I mean, I can imagine myself reading the entire book and not getting bored. So good work, really good work.
Well, I hope she gets encouraged. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, thinking that she's also got a very descriptive style of writing. She really paints the picture with the words and describes everything quite thoroughly. I think she's very thorough in her writing, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, and most of the time when you have descriptive writing like this, it literally puts you to sleep. But this one makes you want to, you want to get to the end, and that's amazing, really.
Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, we've got one final post, I think. Then we get to see the collage, and then I'm going to play that song that I wanted Bug to play for you using the music bot if we can get it to work. Mo, would you like to curate your last post?
Okay, that's fine. And I wouldn't talk too much with this one. I'll try not to. Okay, let me grab the push to talk is hard. I mean, I have to put one finger. Goodness me. Okay, just hold on. Hold on. Okay, there it is. And this is another Venezuelan. Forgive me for, well, I don't think there's anything to forgive really. Last week I curated 2 Nigerian posts, so it was only fair I curated 2 Venezuelans this time. Maybe next week will be Indians. Okay, so this is another um, post in Spanish. Yeah, and I mean, this was quite interesting. It's not the kind of thing I would naturally be attracted to, but I was looking for something unusual for this show, and I found this one. And she was the one I was talking about the other time when I said it was a shock. Nobody had shared the post. It's just me. And then she hasn't been writing much, but she's an artist and she's a painter, and she also is into dance and yoga, and that makes her a really interesting person. I do not know how to pronounce her name, but there you have it. You have it. You can go on and check it. It's an 11-day-old post, and it's so sad that when he had absolutely no share, not even has. I don't understand how that works. But this article was fascinating for me because I'm a hoarder by nature. I mean, I find it difficult to clear my junk. I find it difficult to let things go. It's a little embarrassing, but I just get stuck on stuff. I mean, if I loved it once, I can't unlove it. And my husband has to, he just waits for me to leave the house and then packs my clutter and dumps them out. But she she talks about how we pamper ourselves on the inside, on the outside, with the best of things. Like she talks about using the best conditioners, mascara, fragrances, bath lotions, and all. But we hurt ourselves on the inside by eating a lot of junk and taking, so many pills and stuff, and filling our space with junk, really. And then she recommends a book. Let me see. Yeah, she recommends The Magic of Order. Sorry, forgive me. The Magic of Order by Mary Kondo, and suggests that this book. She says this book might change many things in our lives in a positive way. And I wonder, okay, a book about order, really? So I ran off to Google